All right, everybody. It's 2024, and we are the Understable podcast, and we are back. And this is episode 47. Um, it's your host, Mark, and I got my good friend Brandon with us. Hey, what's up, Brandon?
Hey, what is going on, guys? It's been a hot minute.
Yeah, it definitely has. And we'll get into this. I mean, life got crazy last year with
Sure did.
You're trying to qualify for AM Worlds, and me trying to meet sponsor stuff, and man, what a crazy year last year was. I'll tell you that for sure.
Yes. Yep.
I kind of got burnt out last year. I'm not even going to lie. 19 events for an AM4 player.
Yeah.
Traveling every other weekend. That's a lot, man. I'm telling you. Whoa.
So let's start with you, the brains behind the operation. How did things go for you? Try to give us a short recap of how your year went, some highlights, some lowlights, things of that nature. Let's hear it.
All right. So last year was kind of a very up and down year. I had some really good rounds. I had some really crappy rounds.
As we all did, I feel like.
Oh yeah, we all did. I mean, I played the Victory Park Open. I know I touched on this at the end of last year where I lost like 6 frisbees in one pond. It was crazy.
Yeah, Victory Park?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hole 12. I kept trying to bomb over, and I just kept going in the water every shot.
Wasn't that in April as well?
Yeah, that was early on, so yeah. I still wasn't in the full swing of things, and but going through the rest of the season, like I played the Echo Valley Open this year or last year, and of course Echo is my favorite course in Dayton, and I shot 2 phenomenal rounds, and I think I finished like 6th or 8th at the tournament, maybe even better than that. I forget, but
okay,
I played very consistent, very I don't want to say conservative. But I played smart golf, and I think I finished like +8 for both rounds or something like that. I played really well. I was happy with it. But then I had other rounds where I just, played absolute garbage.
Yeah.
And that's a disc golfer's life, man. Some rounds are great, some are bad.
I mean, yeah, that's AM disc golf. For anyone out there who has bad rounds, don't you worry. There's plenty of other people out there who have bad rounds.
Hey, a bad round on the disc golf course is a better day at work.
That's true.
I'll say that for sure.
That's true.
Some of the highlights are just like, for those in the area, like Belmont Park, hole 5 is like 417 feet, slightly downhill. And when I played the former Hazy Shade Open event that is Scott Burnett Open now, I ended up 20 feet past the basket on the drive, and I made the birdie putt uphill with the kind of a windy day. So, I mean, that kind of lit a fire. I just played real well the rest of the day there.
Yeah.
Man, watching you at Brewer Park that first week I was up, man, I'll let you talk about that round. But
yeah.
That was phenomenal, dude. What a round.
Yeah. And I missed a few easy ones too. I missed like a couple of the easiest holes on the course, I think.
Yeah. I think you did. You parred some holes that should have been an easy birdie.
Like less than 200 feet, I parred them, I think.
Probably. But yeah, I remember we started the back 9, and I was like, hey, man, I'm going to pace you the rest of this round. And I kept up a couple, 3-4 holes in a row. Then you just took off on me like, all right.
Yeah, I took off on a lot of people.
So, I don't know.
So, okay. There's a few personal developments for you. 1, your sponsorship. 2, your location. Update us on those things.
Okay. So I'm still in Dayton, Ohio. That hasn't changed. I did actually buy a house in November.
Boom. That's what I'm talking about.
So that's a huge step for me. I mean, I worked all year last year with competing to put myself into a position to buy a house, and I made that goal accomplished.
So how is it? You are like all cozied in and everything, all moved in? You got more stuff to unpack or what?
Oh, I'm still unpacking. There's so many boxes. I just got to figure out like where to put stuff. And
yeah,
it feels like a never ending process.
It is. It's a slow, dude. Honestly, like you gotta take your sweet time, because like you could work for like an entire weekend straight and you still would have so much stuff to do. So like you just gotta, here and there, maybe like set a goal of like, maybe I look through 1 box a day, something like that.
Yeah. I kind of started doing like 1 room at a time.
Yep.
So obviously the master bedroom got set up first because has to.
Yeah.
And then I started working on the room that I'm in now, which is has all my 3D printers, all my disc golf stuff. It's kind of my office room because I wanted to get back to this. I have missed this all last year, and I'm so glad to be back.
Yeah.
Let's talk sponsorship. So, pretty sure I told you the last time we talked that I have made the decision to step down from Team Prodigy.
You did tell me this. Yeah. We'll tell the people.
Yeah. So for those that have listened to us and that know, I got picked up by Prodigy 2 years ago, and it's been a fun ride. I really enjoyed it. I've had a great time representing the Star and being part of that community and that team. But this year, I cannot commit to the requirements of the number of tournaments I have to play. One, because I bought a house,
right?
So I have to be a little more financially responsible, if you will.
Yeah.
But two, I just need to take a break and get back to casual golf and make it fun.
Yeah, and like no disrespect to Prodigy, like they were great to you, they were great to the show, like and all of the Prodigy sponsored players that came on here.
Yeah, we had a couple.
Yeah, but yeah, just had to take a step back for honestly like responsible reasons. Like let's get real here. I don't think anyone listening is like, oh man, wow, what a mistake. You know what I mean? Like we got some grown up things to take care of here.
But I will say, from the sounds of it, and this has to be confirmed, but I will still be representing Team Catalyst Disc Golf this year.
Sweet.
So if you guys don't know who Catalyst is, she's a good friend of mine that moved to California, but she makes custom minis out of resin, and they're real cool. She has awesome products. You can check her out on Facebook at Catalyst Disc Golf. And I know she's kind of been slow with the minis now, focusing on some other areas of things that she's doing, but she'll be back. Check them out. Get yourself a mini or two, and who knows? Maybe we'll be doing a giveaway for some minis later this year. We'll see.
Absolutely. All right.
So I have one thing I want to say from this last season, and I think it's one of the most incredible things that I've done all year. It would be my most improved aspect of the game.
Okay, let's hear it.
You're not going to know it by looking at my stats, but it's the confidence from circle 2 putting. I hit so many C2 putts this year when I had to that it really boosted confidence. For example, Sasquatch Open. Kevin's been on the show a few times, but Kevin and I were on the same card first round. We started on hole 11 at Vicksburg, and I am 60 feet out from the basket, left side, edge of the tall grass, right? Canned a 60-footer step putt.
Okay.
Opening putt of the tournament. And Kevin's like, are we really doing this? I was like, yep, we're doing this.
He says, I played well. This is what we're doing today, huh? This is what we're doing.
First round, I finished +1. I did the lead card in M3 with Kevin.
Yep.
Kevin started a very slow round that round. I mean, he was struggling like to get things going. And hole 5, I think it was, dude hits an ace. And it just kickstarted the rest of the round for him, the rest of the tournament.
Yeah.
Congrats to him on his first win.
Yep. Very well deserved. It was a good win. And he played the game. He didn't even play Hero Golf too. Like I was watching the score. Just played within his means.
He came to me with 3 holes to go. Obviously, we're on the same card. He was like, "Man, I'm tied for the win. What am I supposed to do?" I said, "Stick to your game plan. You play what your game plan says. Make this guy make the mistakes." So sure enough, this younger kid, I forget his name, but he tried harder to make hero shots. Bigger drives or just make those shots that he really shouldn't be trying to when he's going for the win. But hey, he left it all out there. That's for sure. Congrats to him on a great runner-up finish. So
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that's definitely my most improved aspect of the game this year. Actually, I guess there's 2. Mainly the circle 2 putting, but also the gain distance on my drives. So that they kind of go hand in hand to me, like being able to hit circle 2 off the box and have those looks.
What are you banging your C2s with?
Oh, a 300 soft glow PA3, and I will stick with those putters. I'm not changing off them.
Yep.
So
gonna bag a little more trilogy this time around.
There's a couple I'm gonna put back in the bag. I have a Saint in the bag at the moment. I need to find an SE blend felon because there's no disc like a felon. I don't care what anybody says. Nothing is a felon.
Well,
besides a felon.
I'll tell you, there is a disc like the Felon. I'm going to tell you right now, but it costs like $30, and it's the Glow Sexton Firebird. People are going to fight me on that. It's like the same thing, except you can get a Felon in stock for $10 less. That's my take on it. I'm going to get heat for it. It's the same thing. It's the same thing, except I saved $10 on mine.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, Prodigy does have the FX2, which is similar.
Mm-hmm.
But the one I have in the bag, it's been in the bag for 2 years. Once it loses any speed, it dumps.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to get a force turnover or a force flex with it, whereas a beat-in Felon all day.
Right.
Forehand flex all day with that thing.
Right.
So enough of my season, enough of me talking. Let's talk about your season, Brandon.
Yeah.
Real quick recap. What are your highlights of your season? What stood out to you the most?
So I had a few. I got 3 big ones for the most part. I'll rattle through these before we get on to the main topic we talked about last year and moving on to this year. Highlight number 1 was my wife got to see me hit an ace for the first time. And we were up in a little vacation in the Upper Peninsula. We were actually sleeping out of the van, out of the minivan. I built a frame. We were camping, just trying to save, let's just save some money. Let's just camp out of the van. So we drove our little house / van over to this little 9-hole. It's called Eagle Rock Disc Golf Course in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And I hit an ace on the very first hole. Got out of the van, tossed an ace. And that was kind of the highlight of the round, honestly, right there. But yeah, so that was a big one. We've been together for so long, and I've been playing disc golf since like 2012. She has yet to see me hit an ace.
Well, what was her reaction to that?
She was very excited. She couldn't believe it. She was kind of almost confused at how to react because she was like, "Wait, it actually happened." You know what I mean?
So she took the Jen Allen reaction from last year.
Yeah, she was kind of
like, "What?
Huh? Did you just do that?" Yeah. So that was the first one. Second one was I shot my first 1,000 rated rounds at League, and you were there, as you kind of alluded to earlier.
Yep.
Yeah. Did we have
what was your score? Wasn't like a 13 or 14 down
14.
That round?
It was 14 down.
And it's too bad we weren't in the presence of greatness with Kyle Klein being there this year.
I know.
Hey.
So yeah, and I missed all the holes. I missed, I think, were 17. Obviously, I missed because that one's that's the longest hole in the course. I remember I got a look, but I don't remember how my look went. I don't know if I hit cage or something. I had a look. I was in C2 at worst, and I never checked my score the whole time. I just kept racking up birdies. I missed a couple of easy ones. I think I missed a 170-foot sidearm. I missed the first hole, which was also a sidearm hole. I missed 18, and I don't remember what the other one I missed is. Probably 7. I think it was another sidearm hole. It was 7, or maybe even, I don't think I missed 8. But yeah, I missed some really easy holes. And it ended up being 1,000 rated. You were there. Kevin was there. Like I said before, I never checked my score. I remember we got up to the last hole, and I was like, and I remember I was talking to you guys. I was like, should I check the score? And you guys didn't want to commit to yes or no on this. You guys were like,
no, of course not, because you're playing so well. Why would you want to put that in your head?
You knew I already had 2 strokes on the leader. I already had 2 strokes on the first spot, and you guys were like, I don't know, man. Whatever you want to do. Because I got to 18's hole, and I was like, dude, maybe should I just take the par? And you're like, it's your game, bro. It's your game,
right?
And I was like, dude, no, I'm not gonna. I was
subtle hints the whole time.
I was like, no, I'm not gonna go for par, dude. That's just too boring. I want to end this on a birdie. Sure enough, absolutely parked the hole. Absolutely parked.
Yeah,
it's
you
not an easy hole.
That.
It's not an easy hole.
What'd you throw, a rive, or was it a trespass?
It was a rive. Yeah, I threw a rive, but it's I threw it super, super high, 300 and what is it, 50, 60, 70 feet of insanely high hyzer.
Yeah.
And then put it under the basket. Yeah, for my first 1,000 rated round. It was awesome. I think I took first place in that by 2 strokes that week.
I think you did, and that's an accomplishment, man.
It was like 10:14 too. It wasn't like 10:01 or whatever. It was 10:14, I think.
Yeah. I mean, even just going from a year and a half ago when you were talking about being like 920 rated, 935 rated, to be able to pull off 1,000+ rated round, that's impressive.
Yeah. And in my final highlight, I played in a little tournament you may have heard of called the Ledgestone Insurance Open. I played on the AM side.
I've never heard of that one. Is it big?
It's pretty big. It might be actually the biggest tournament in the world as far as like player attendance goes. It was a really, really incredible experience. It was pretty well organized. The courses were pretty fun. I think I've even gone on record about Eureka Temp and been like, I don't like watching that course because it's ugly, right? Like, I think I've even gone on record and said that on this podcast. I still stand by the fact that I think the course is ugly. I'm not going to back down from that. However, it was fun to play. It was challenging. And as soon as I finished, I could not wait I wanted to play again. I was like, let's do it again. There's so much I want to improve on. And all of the courses were like that for me. Like, they were all very fun. Sunset Hills was amazing. It's on a ball golf course. That was where I actually did the worst. That was like the birdie course, and I shot like +7. That's where I did like the worst. And then the next one
funny. It's funny how those courses will sneakily get you.
They do. It was a golf course. It was windy, and I had some bad luck. But that's all in the past now. And then I think it's called Wildwood or something like that is the last course. It was really fun. A lot of people complain about it, but I played pretty well there. It's a technical course with lots of up and down hills in the woods. It is very challenging, but I'm pretty good at like dissecting courses like that, where it's like I don't push for too much when I'm in a super challenging course like that, and that really helps me get an edge on other players because we'll be in the woods and someone's going to bust out the strike where I'm busting out like a gazelle or something really straight and just playing for position. So those were my.
Is it a G-Star Gazelle?
It is a G-Star Gazelle, yes.
Cool. Did Stacy give it to you?
No. I did see her at Ledgestone, actually. I got a picture with her, and I got a signed disc. That. Yeah, and I was like, all right, no G-Star Gazelle.
For those that don't know that joke, we had Stacy Ronsley on our podcast a year and a half ago, and Brandon mentioned getting a Star G-Star Gazelle with her stamp on it, and they just both kind of chuckled about it.
Never happened. Unfortunately, now she's with Castoplast, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, and then as far as sponsorships go for me and like personal things, I'll make these really quick. I am still with Disc Baron, as you can see. DiscBaron.com for all of your disc golf needs. Use the code 71353 at checkout for a little bit of cheese off of your order. I'm with them again through 2024. That is a partnership that I expect to just continue to grow. They've been good to me, and I have a wonderful time representing them. I hope they enjoy having me on the squad. And then finally, personal things. I was doing the Pokemon podcast no more. I'm not doing Pokemon Masters Council anymore. I have branched off. I'm doing Pokemon YouTube on my own. If you're interested in supporting me there, if you like Pokemon, the channel is 0BLS. There's a picture of me holding my bag. I have like less than 100 subscribers at the time of this recording, but growth has been pretty good, I have to say. I'm excited for the future of that project.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm kind of excited to see it grow. I'm not a big Pokemon fan, but
hey,
I always try to support my friends and what their endeavors are.
Yeah,
and,
hey, guys, if you hear this, just go subscribe. Even if you don't like Pokemon, it helps me out a lot. Just shows that people are interested, helps me get monetized too, so I can make some money. Anyway, let's move on to some other things.
So, the question I have for you is, what is your most improved aspect of the game from 2023?
My most improved aspect of the game? I think it is awareness. And what I mean by awareness is I have really analyzed my game, and I've picked out my biggest weaknesses, and I have been addressing those. So, for example, as far as like the game awareness of the game goes, like I've always kind of struggled with up shots from like the 200 to 140 range, let's say, like things I can't jump putt. You know what I mean? Like analyze, like how do I get under the basket? How do I keep myself from having to putt all the time? So I've been using my rangefinder more, and I've been using UDisc to. So what I'll do is I will throw like 7 harps sidearm. I'll measure all 7 of those harps, and I will get an average reading. So now it's like, okay, I can sidearm approach a harp 170 very comfortably. This is how much power it takes. And so now, like when I'm out on the course, I'll use my rangefinder, and I'm like, okay, 160. Well, I know I can hit it 170. Maybe I'll go 10 feet past it. That's fine. So I'm using that data now to my advantage. So I've been doing that. I've been using other outside resources to make me better. And then another thing that comes with awareness is like when I'm doing an event and there's live scoring. And this honestly kind of sounds like disc golf basics, but not getting ahead of myself when I'm behind and there's still time, right? So I don't have to be a hero until the last, if I'm in position for the win. I don't have to be the hero until, if I'm back with 4 or 5 holes to go. You know what I mean? I can continue to execute my game plan, and I don't have to worry about match play, quote unquote. I'm using bunny ears here until I'm in a position or striking distance for the win, or even if it's like I'm in 4th but I want 3rd. What do I have to do to get 3rd?
Right.
Stuff like that. So I'm becoming more aware of my game and my situations when I'm playing the game. Does that make sense? Was that a good answer?
Yeah.
Looking for?
Yeah. And that's something I've also worked on this year as well. Because, I mean, me, we've played enough rounds that, and when things start to go bad for me, I really kind of get out of it and I get down and I start trying way too hard.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that our champ said last year was she stays focused on the shot in front of her. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, it's Kristen Tatar.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She said in multiple interviews last year that she focused on the shot that was in front of her, and that was it.
Yep.
The shot that just happened, it already happened. You can't change that.
Yeah.
You're on hole 17. Don't worry about hole 18. Worry about your second shot on 17 or your third shot, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that's something that I felt myself grow in this year, and I thought that was a big step for me. And I think that could be a part of the reason why I started getting more confidence in C2 putts, because even if I did miss that 50-footer,
mm-hmm.
I'm only 15 past the basket, and that's like having a tap in these days.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
exactly.
Having that confidence where if I do miss, I have a very small comebacker, and chances are it's going in.
Right. Well, sir, right. It's been 25 minutes already. Let's see. What do we have to talk about here? Let's
get into the main course, right?
Yes, the main course. We need like a light or something, or some flashing text. The main course.
Disc Golf Pro Tour 2024.
2024.
We got some changes.
We do.
They're not going to Vegas this year.
Not going to Vegas.
They're kicking off in Florida. I believe it's Jacksonville, but I could be wrong.
I'm not sure. I don't have it pulled up in front of me. I will work on pulling that up in front of me actually while we chat. So, what are your thoughts on the changes so far that you are in tune with?
Well, the schedule. I mean, there's big changes to the schedule. There's starting in Florida. The US WDGC has moved up like 2 or 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a lot of big changes this year, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a different pace for the players. I think it's going to be, changing up the scenery might be good for them.
Yes.
I really like the fact they're not going to Vegas because, let's face it, Vegas is not really fun to watch. It's just big shot after big shot, man-made OBs. But it's nice to see a different scenery for the opening event of the year.
Okay, I'm gonna pop this image up on the screen for all to see. So hold on, bear with me 1 second. You're gonna hear me clicking around here. Oh, it's tiny, beautiful. Okay. I'm actually gonna have it like take up a whole bunch of space here. Sorry, this is the amateur things that we're gonna be working through. Don't you worry your pretty little heads off. It's gonna be great. So yes, where are we starting? You said we're starting in Florida.
Yeah, the All-Star event coming up, and the first tournament of the season's down in Florida.
Mm-hmm. Yep, All-Star in Brooksville, Florida, and then it goes to the Florida Open.
Yes.
Also in Brooksville. So yeah, it'll be like this. It'll be like the last. It'll be like like we had in Vegas. They'll have the All-Star weekend in Vegas.
Yeah, it's the same format. They're just moving it to Florida, which I think is going to be cool for a different change of or a change of scenery and a different climate.
They're all moving down there too. You know what I mean?
They are.
Disc golfers are moving down there.
Stacy already went down there. Well, she's traveling this weekend for getting down to practice. And speaking of that, I have reached out to her, and we will be hosting her again in the near future. I'm excited for that, and yeah, it's gonna be fun.
So then it looks pretty familiar for the next few weeks. Waco Charity Open, and then the Open at Austin, and then United States Women's Disc Golf Championships.
It's in March. It's the fourth event
in March in Texas. What do you think about
that? I don't know. Interesting. I mean, it's definitely interesting, and it's gonna, I think, bring some tension up. Like, it's gonna push these ladies to really have to focus on a different course.
Yeah.
And really be prepared for one of their majors early in the year.
Yeah, I don't love this change because I feel like putting it this early kind of takes away from, because there's a whole, like, we have like a whole season, like there's a whole section of the season that's like championships. You know what I mean? We have a section of the season that's dedicated to, like, we get Worlds, and then we've got a couple tournaments in between, it seems like. And then we've got, you know, like USDGC and the Pro Tour Championship, and then the United States Women's Disc Golf Championship. Like, all of those kind of exist in the same portion of the season. Now this one is just kind of, you know, just smack dab in the beginning. It's kind of weird. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm curious on the PDGA's reasoning for changing that, or not PDGA. I'm sorry, DGPT's reason for changing that.
Yeah.
In the schedule, but I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm curious to see how it's going to affect a lot of these female players.
Moving on, Texas State Championship, Jonesboro Music City Open, DD Open, OTB Open in California. Is this our only stop in California this year?
I think so.
Yeah. That's been a pretty good event, though. I think people enjoy that one in Stockton, California.
Yeah. And I think we have, Beaver State Fling after that?
Yeah, Beaver State Fling is back, dude. It's been so long. Oh, yeah. But they moved. It used to be in Washington, wasn't it? Oh, no, it's Oregon.
It's Oregon. No, it's
Oregon.
It was on the schedule. It was just the Silver Series last year.
Okay. Beautiful.
Yeah, it was a Silver Series last year, if I recall, and then this year it's part of the actual tour. So I'm excited for that, too.
So we got a 2-week break, and we're going to the Preserve Championship, going to Kayla Visca's house.
Shout out to Prodigy.
Yep, shout out. That's a great course, and that's a great event to watch. I like that one.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great course to watch. And although I haven't played it, I'm sure many of the Minnesotans would agree that's one of the premier courses up in that area. So props to Kale for a phenomenal course and doing what he does up there in Minnesota.
Des Moines Challenge, and then we're going across the pond to the European Open in Nokia, Finland. That'll be exciting to see again. Ledgestone in your neck of the woods.
Close. Give me Idlewild.
Yeah, Idlewild is next. More your neck of the woods.
Yeah. It usually goes Ledgestone, Idlewild, then D-Glow.
We have World Championships in between Idlewild and D-Glow. So another, it's just thrown into the middle of August. It's in Virginia.
Yeah, I think that's actually at Paul's course that he installed.
I think so. Which is cool. He knows how to
see that course.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
But then D-Glow, Green Mountain Championship, that'll be awesome to watch. MVP Open, my favorite event of the year. United States Disc Golf Championship, then the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship, and then the Champions Cup, rounding it all out at the beginning of November.
What are your thoughts on the Champions Cup being after the Pro Tour Championship?
It's kind of weird. There are some weird changes here. I think the most jarring, obviously, is the United States Women's Championship being just like in April. Overall, though, I am excited for this schedule. Like, outside of the championships being in weird spots, the World Championships, the United States Championships, I think it's a good schedule, man. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, I think it's solid. It's not going to be courses where it's big shot after big shot, tournament after tournament. They've got good variety spread throughout.
They do.
I'm not sure how I feel about Champions Cup being last, because that's like having the Super Bowl come before your NFC championships.
Yeah, that's really weird.
You know what I mean? Like the tour championships should be the final event. Like,
yeah, especially like for the Pro Tour. Like, this is the Pro Tour, your championships. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's like having your own Super Bowl.
Yeah, or like we're coming up on the college football national championship.
Yes, sir, we are. Yes, sir, we are. Go Blue. Sorry, I'm fired up, dude. It's consuming me, dude. I can't think of anything but this, dude. I want them to win it so bad. I'm sorry,
but it would be like having or picking two teams, say Michigan and Washington, like it is, and having them play before the national championship game, and then they lost or Michigan say lost. So now it's supposed to be Washington and Alabama. Well, like, it's backwards.
Yeah, it is.
Fix it.
Fix it. Fix it, please. Yeah, dude, I'm so excited.
It's gonna be a good schedule. It's gonna be a good season.
Yeah,
there's a lot of good things coming overall.
Yeah. So speaking of things changing, right?
Changes.
There's been a lot of players changing. We're not going to go over every single one because there's so many, and honestly, the timing of us recording is so unfortunate because this will probably go up on Monday, and over the weekend, we're recording on a Friday, breaking the fourth wall here a little bit. We'll probably have some announcements for some signings over the weekend. But let's talk about what we know now. Where do you want to start?
Well, let's just start the top of our notes. Gannon Buhr.
I
mean, he was the talk of the first quarter of last season with the lawsuit from Prodigy and him trying to break his contract.
Mm-hmm.
They settled that, and he finished out the year with Prodigy.
Yep.
I am not one bit surprised that he's leaving the company.
And
not at all. After the drama from last year and trying to probably get more money from somebody else, this was just very obvious that this was going to be the move.
I had some just random thoughts. I found it really interesting. Gannon Buhr put out his announcement. In the description of his video, he said, "I'm leaving Prodigy." He didn't thank Prodigy, thank you Prodigy for all the support. He just said thank you for everyone who supported me. He didn't directly thank Prodigy. But then Prodigy turns around and they posted this really, really nice video of his highlights with Prodigy for the last 7 years.
7 years, yeah.
Yep. And it was super heartwarming and super nice. And they're like, "Thank you, Gannon Buhr." And it's that's good PR right there, dude.
But see, I think that's just how Prodigy is. Prodigy values their players.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, no, they're not going to pay him top dollar, not paying him $1 million contract.
Well, it sounds like they didn't have the money for that in the first place.
No, Prodigy is a small company.
Yeah.
They've only been around for 10 years. They're a small company, but they're doing things right. They're sticking within the means that they have afforded to them. And that's what they're going with.
The owner of Prodigy literally came out and decided to be incredibly transparent when the lawsuit came out and said, losing Gannon Buhr could sink our company because we're not selling the way we expected, or we're not selling, we're not keeping up with other companies right now. So, I mean, that has to tell you a lot about the position they were in and why they did what they did.
Right. Now the other thing I'll kind of counter that with, results from last year. They're not going to be as affected as they thought they would be. Isaac has really stepped up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think he's
that
about
was
to
the
be the
best
face
thing.
of Prodigy.
That was the best thing that could have happened to Prodigy. It was Isaac winning World Championship.
Well, he won 2 majors last year. He won that and Champions Cup.
Yeah.
And then Ezra, Ezra Robinson's right there with him. I mean, he doesn't have wins or whatever. But he's consistent. He's up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the shocker for me was hearing the announcement that Alden Harris was leaving as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a gut feeling that that's because Gannon's leaving and those two are like really close friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I just had this feeling that Gannon left, so now Alden's leaving.
Right.
But there's speculation that we'll go back to Gannon real quick. There's speculation that Gannon's going to Discmania, but I've also seen that he's going to Dynamic. So I don't know. I can see Discmania because I heard through a birdie that he already had a contract drafted up last year.
Yeah, I can see that. It makes a lot of sense. Gannon fits the mold of what kind of players they like to sign. They're young players with big arms and who can hit putts from 60 feet away, and it doesn't even look like they're trying.
Right.
And it seems like jumping forward a little bit, there's rumors that Eagle's going to leave. It seems like Discmania is now content to reset their roster. They're a good brand. They make good discs. They are content to. It's like building through the draft, right? They're like getting young talent at a. I don't want to say cheap price because it's going to cost a lot to bring Gannon in, but like that's your Patrick Mahomes, right? Like he's your Patrick Mahomes, and then you've got the Kyle Kleins who is there on a deal that's not so super expensive, and you'll get Alden Harris. He won't cost you that much money,
but he's young talent,
right? You've got your anchor, which is like for Dynamic. Ricky is your anchor. Everyone else is just kind of like supplemental around him.
It's kind of like the Lions, 3-4 years ago, where they had to completely rebuild. They've picked up good pieces. Jared Goff's been good for the Lions, and Aiden Hutchinson has been a star. He's been a beast.
He's amazing. But that's
kind
of what they're doing.
With the rumors of Eagle possibly leaving, I mean, your number one's Kyle, and no shade on Kyle because Kyle's a great player.
Right.
He's got some huge wins.
Mm-hmm.
But your face of the company, your number one, could be Gannon Burr for 10 years.
Yeah. Yep. It
could be.
I do gotta say though.
I think that'd be a great combination to have Kyle and Gannon on the same team.
The new era of Crush Boys, dude.
Yeah, Crush Boys 2.0.
Yeah.
I could really see honestly Gannon or not Gannon, but Eagle if he leaves Discmania, I could see him going to Latitude or a Trilogy mold, being under the House of Discs.
My thing with Eagle, I would love to see that. I would really, really love to see that. I don't know if it's a thing. Here's what I think is going to happen with Eagle. One of two things. And I could be completely wrong. I could just be blowing smoke here. I could see MVP because they seem to be on the up hard. They have been, you know what I mean? Like ever since signing Simon, like their stuff is just flying off the shelves and they make quality stuff. I mean, like let's be real. Like they all make quality plastic. Nobody makes plastic that's like any better or worse. I mean, I have my preferences.
I think Franklin would be worse.
Oh yeah, we had this discussion, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Never mind. But, I said that I'd have to like. Yeah, Franklin would have to pay me like Ricky Wysocki money to throw Franklin. Anyway,
right.
I
see your reasoning for that going MVP.
Yeah.
I can see I get the Crush Boys back together. Here's why I disagree. Trilogy, specifically Latitude, has made Discmania molds for 2 to 3 years now.
Yeah.
So it's something that he's already comfortable with. It'd be a very easy transition to get rid of the Discmania molds and just throw in a Trilogy mold.
Right.
It'd be a very, very easy transition with something he's already comfortable with, and it wouldn't take much adjustment.
I can see that. So here, so my thing with it is, there's things I don't understand about this House of Discs thing, right? What's the pool? What's the umbrella of money? Like, how far does it go? Is like because isn't Discmania part of House of Discs now? Yeah,
you've got all 3 Trilogy molds or brands, plus you got Discmania and Castoplast.
If there's not enough money at Discmania, does that mean there's more money somewhere else within House of Discs? That's what I'm saying. I don't understand. I'm sure they've got
fair.
Sure, but like if one House of Discs company can't pay him enough, then why would another one? But then at the same time, I could see him going to a smaller company that's ready to invest and get their company
I'll tell you what.
out there, like Castaplast or Thought Space Athletics or someone who's just ready to throw some money at a guy to get their product selling because it works. We saw it work.
I honestly would like to see Eagle end up at Prodigy. I think it'd be huge for the company. Yeah, they'd have to fork out some money.
Yeah, they would.
But what Eagle brings off the course through social media, through through what he does, like with his YouTube channel, so that would bring huge publicity to Prodigy and could really boost them a lot.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about that aspect of a player when we talk about an FPO player next that ended up leaving her company.
Well, before we get to that, because it's already concrete.
Yeah.
Another big move is Emerson Keith leaving Lone Star and signing with Innova.
Great fit. That's a great fit. I think that's such a good fit. Too. I love it. I think it's like he couldn't have gone to a better place, I think.
Right. I would agree. I mean, he started with Dynamic, I think it was, and then I think he just struggled. I think he struggled with Dynamic, and last year, I saw him a little bit on coverage, but like he wasn't really popping off. He wasn't, getting wins. He wasn't up in the top 5, top 10 consistently, but maybe this is just a good move on his part to help him improve his game more.
Yeah. I really like Emerson Keith, man. I like his game. I like his putt. I like his style. I think that's a great fit for Innova, and that's a big win. They probably didn't have to bring him in on a bunch of money, but at the same time, he's a father, so I'm sure they took that into consideration and took care of him.
I'm sure.
So,
are there any other big moves that we know of so far, or is that really it?
That's really a lot of it is just kind of rumor. There's other things like Nicholas Antilla left Discmania. He's a young gun, really talented player from across the pond.
Yeah.
He left Discmania, so like that could even lead to more speculation. Is like, okay, they're saving money for Ganon.
So Lucky Lawrenson left Prodigy.
Okay, where did he go?
She is also from across the pond, and she was talking about how she couldn't get the proper visas to come back over here and play regularly.
Okay.
Issues with that, and if I'm not mistaken, she signed with Thought Space.
Oh, yes. Yep. Yeah, there's been
I don't know if it's a money grab from her or if the visa truly is the issue. I'm not one to speculate on that, so without having facts, I can't really comment too much.
Yeah. So we got one more player to talk about before we kind of wrap the show up with a tip and our thoughts for 2024. Sitting at about 43 minutes here, so we'll keep that in the back of our pockets as we continue. Macie Velediaz has left Dynamic Discs. I'm sure you've all seen this kind of post by now. It'll be probably trending through the weekend. I think it's brand new news for us today or yesterday. Macie is pregnant. Congratulations, by the way, to Macie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great player. Going to be a great mother, I'm sure. So she... After what was it? It was before the Pro Tour. She'd been, and you clarify for me too, because you're better at like looking at words and deciphering things and paying attention to detail. I'm not an attention to detail kind of guy, but so she was approached by a few companies. Was it before the Pro Tour?
Pro Tour Championship.
Before the championship.
She found out she was pregnant.
So at the time of her pregnancy, before she even announced she was pregnant, she was approached by DD and a few other companies about a contract for next year. Then Pro Tour Championship happened. She announced that she was pregnant. She had every intention of staying with Dynamic Discs, but then they came back with an offer that was a little bit lower because it sounds like she let them in on the fact that, hey, I'm pregnant. I'm going to be playing roughly 10 events. That's what me and my agent decided.
Right.
So she turned that down.
It sounds to me like there was an offer originally on the table, and her husband had decided they were going to stick with Dynamic. And then they found out that they announced to her team manager that she was pregnant and they were going to be playing a reduced schedule. Which, for those of you that can get pregnant and have been, it's tough traveling, competing, and all that while you're pregnant. Well, because of that, Dynamic offered her a smaller contract, which any business will do that if you're only fulfilling 50% of your contract.
Yeah. I'm going to play devil's advocate for this. I'm going to play both sides of this. I'm going to talk about both sides. So, but carry on.
So it might be a greed thing with wanting to have more money and think that she needs more money because she did have a good year last year.
She did, yeah. She had a great year.
But there's still a goose egg in the win column.
Mm-hmm.
How many podium finishes did she have last year?
Mm-hmm.
So you can't just sit here and ask for more money if you're not getting those accolades.
Right.
You know, and if you're only going to play 10 tournaments, you should get paid for those 10 tournaments.
Right. Because players are not employees like of your company. They're basically like contractors. So you are allowed to offer them whatever. They are, and like I said, I'm going to play devil's advocate. So I'm going to talk both sides of this. I'm going to talk Macie's side, and I'm not even going to like say which one I think is right, you know, because there's so many layers to this. I'm just going to kind of like spout what, you know, loose facts about them. They are within their right to offer less money, right? Because they're a business. You don't start a business with the intention of losing money and being a charity, right? If she's only going to play 10 events, do you want to pay her for 10 events?
Correct.
So that's the business side of it, right? You're absolutely right. You basically summarized that. So now I'm going to play devil's advocate for a couple other points, right? I think this was a poor marketing decision by Dynamic. I understand why they did it. And I love Dynamic. I'm still going to throw Trilogy because I just like their stuff. They would have to do something super duper crummy for me to not throw. You know what I mean? I would have had to find out that like they're all Nazis or something for me to not throw their stuff. I do think it's a missed opportunity for Dynamic to just take care of Macie, because what she's looking for is financial stability. She has a literal child on the way. She has, you know, she's got a family. She's looking for financial stability, and it didn't even have to be $10 million like Ricky. You know, that's all she's looking for. She's looking for financial stability. She would not have that taking this contract. So I think it's a missed opportunity for Dynamic to, honestly, to be a hero, to go out there and say, hey, we took care of this player. We care about FPO. You know, we care about our players. We care about FPO. So we hooked Macie up with a deal throughout her pregnancy for the next 2 years, like just for the next 2 years or something like that. You could have done that for Macie. You didn't have to, so you didn't. But you could have done that for Macie. And I like I said, I think it's a missed opportunity for DD, because now they look like the bad guys, right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. That's what Macie's just looking for, financial stability. She was looking to DD for it. DD said no. They could have done it. Could have been heroes. And now whoever signs her is going to look like the next. They're going to look like superstars. They are going to be the heroes. Hey, we took care of Macie because DD didn't want to do it. So that's my thoughts on the whole situation.
Yeah, I get it from that aspect, but without knowing what the wording of her contract was or what they offered.
True.
Because they could have offered her $80,000 a year.
True.
And maybe she thought she was worth more than that and turned that down.
Yeah, we don't know. So there's so much we don't know. There's so much.
That's where I don't have sympathy for that situation because, well, like I said, I don't know what the wording is. I don't know what the offer was. But if she doesn't like it because she feels like she's worth more, I mean, you put yourself in that position.
So now this brings up another point.
As you said, though, this is a perfect chance for a company, again, like Prodigy or one of these smaller companies to come in and offer her that stability and really take care of her.
Yep, it is.
Prodigy is good at taking care of people for the most part.
Mm.
Who else? There's a couple other companies that are really good about taking care of their people.
Right.
And I can see one of them coming in right before the season and helping her out.
Right. I do. I think she'll get signed. It'll be a big deal.
She's talented. Yeah. She's very good.
Yeah, she's very good.
She's on the verge of being able to break out and compete.
Yeah.
You know, we saw several ladies last year break out cat merch.
Exactly.
Got her first win. Whoever saw her getting a win last year, I mean, I did.
You
I
did.
saw it last year.
Yep. She was your pick. I remember last year. She was like your breakout kind of player.
Yeah, she was. She played very consistent last year.
She did.
So
yeah, so that did want. That was going to bring up another point, but I think we could make a whole episode out of it. So I'm going to save it.
No, we probably could. I'm sure.
So we got about 10 more minutes, I'd say. Let's wrap this up with an amateur tip. Do you have one? Or you want me to lead?
Go ahead. Amateur strategies with Brandon and Mark.
All right. If you guys have a fancier, flashier name for that, let us know. We would love to hear it, and we would love to have it. So my amateur tip for 2024 is to set lofty goals. Okay? Very, very simple. And to plan out how you're going to achieve those goals. So, I'm 934, 935 rated. I'm going to set a lofty goal. Let's just say I'm going to attach a number to it, right? I don't normally do that. But let's say my goal is to hit 980 rated at the end of the year. That's a lofty 50-point swing, right?
Yeah, that's huge.
Set yourself a lofty goal because it's very basic, Shoot for the stars, land on the moon. You can't set this modest goal of like, I think I want to hit like 940 this year. Like that's complacent. That's snail pace. That's not going out for me personally. That's not me going out and achieving anything, right?
Right. Well, I'm a perfect example of that. 2 years ago, when we interviewed Eric Oakley, I set one of my goals for 2022 to break a 900 rated round. Mm-hmm. What did I do at my very last tournament at Fall Color Classic?
Broke 900.
900 rated round. I think I had 2 or 3 900 rated rounds this year.
Yeah.
So I will piggyback off that with maybe not that extravagant of a goal. Set a high goal, but set a goal that's achievable. Mm-hmm. Because you don't want to sit here and be like, hey, I'm only 900 rated, but I want to be 980 at the end of the year. Well, to do that, you guys shoot pretty much 1,000 rated all year.
But at the same time, if you take the time to practice and like you actually shoot for that goal, you're probably going to end up like, 920 worst?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you got to put in that time. You have to have the steps. So
of course.
What are you going to do to achieve getting to 980 rated? Okay, well, I'm going to practice putting 20 minutes a day, 5 days a week. That's step number 1. You know what I mean? Like, have a plan and stick to it. Be out of control with your goals. Say, I want to win 5 tournaments this year. I'm only signed up for 5. Shoot, if you win one of them, that's great. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's my tip. That's my tip. Set lofty goals this year and
set
take
high
the
goals,
steps.
set achievable goals as well. So maybe that 980s, you're like this is like the one you really want to achieve, but maybe set smaller goals as your steps to that.
Exactly.
So okay, maybe you're only putting 8% from circle 2 like I. Mm-hmm. Maybe by the end of the year you want to be at 12% circle 2 makes.
Right.
Or you want to finish the year at a 98 or 95% circle 1x.
I like how you're like the voice of reason.
The middle.
You're the voice of reason here. Yeah. You're like reeling me back. I'm like, go pro. You can do it. And you're like, hey. You shot 1,000 rated round last year. Let's back it up a little bit. Let's.
Well, no, I mean, it's good to set those goals. You have to have goals that are going to drive you.
Right.
But at the same time, you can't become so focused on that number that you lose sight of how you're going to get there.
Yeah. It does. And there's so many steps to it.
That's a big thing that held me back in the last couple of years, especially starting to keep stats on UDisc.
Yeah.
Is I got so wrapped up in I have to have this percentage from circle 1, from 22 to 33 for 11, circle 1x. Mm-hmm. I have to have this particular stat to feel accomplished. When I was like, don't look at the stats. We interviewed Tony Moe a couple of years when we first started this podcast out.
Yep.
And he was talking about using UDisc for stats. And he's like, I don't use stats in the middle of the round. I use stats to see where I need to improve at.
Exactly.
And that's what you use stats for. You go figure out, okay, where did you lack at during this round and what can you do to fix that?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, yes, set your lofty goals. By all means, set some crazy goal.
2024 is the year that you are going to see those improvements that you have been dying for. But you got to put in the work. If you put in the work, promise, you're going to see the gains. 5 minutes left. What are we excited for in 2024? What are we expecting
2024.
for the podcast?
Okay, so as you, our fans, know, we were not in the studio in 2023 past April. Do I owe an explanation? Not really. We just got busy. Life was hectic. I mean, again, I bought a house. Brandon was busy with his goals of qualifying for AM Worlds.
Yep, that kept me pretty busy.
Which
I did. I have the points. We just got to get through registration.
So I will go on record right now and say, if you qualify, if you get in, I will personally take time off and be your caddy.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you.
I will take time off of work. I will drive up and I will caddy for you the whole weekend.
I'll make it worth it. I won't get last place.
And that might be the goal. I mean,
dude, that literally is. If I get in,
goals.
Yeah. If I get in, no expectations, man. Just try to beat some people. That's it.
Yeah. So
I'm
podcast 2024.
Podcast. Yeah. Our goal at the moment right now, we're just trying to do like every other week. That's our goal right now. We'll see how that adjusts. Maybe crazy things happen. Maybe we get in and do a shorter episode if there's some crazy news, stuff like that. But that's our goal. Every other week, bring you guys something to watch and to listen to. This whole setup here will improve. This is YouTube is kind of new to us. It's not new to me because I did the Pokemon thing, but I'm just spouting at this point.
So yeah, Brandon already touched on it. We are going to be at some point moving to YouTube Live as well as our other sources.
Yeah,
that we post on.
That'll be fun.
So be patient with us. It's a learning curve, especially for me. Brandon's doing this for a while with the Pokemon stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, we would love to get more fan interaction when we go on YouTube and Facebook Live and get some comments, get some questions as we're recording it. We can talk about.
Leave comments, leave reviews, be a part of it. We can't have a live show without you. This is your chance to be a part of the show. So once we start doing YouTube Lives, we'll give you the schedule, and we'll have a good time. Come be a part of it. We'll talk disc golf. Like, what else do you want to do on a Friday night?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for us for this episode. We look forward to big things this year and bringing the best content possible. So until the next episode, keep it in the fairway.
Go Blue.